feel like I'm doing a bit of a career genre recently, and that's just because it's the beginning of the year. People are job hunting, we have a really high unemployment rate, and I just wanted to kind of provide information that's helpful for people who are currently job hunting or will be job hunting in the near future. If you are new to my channel, welcome to Sunshine in My Code. I do tech related content, I do a little bit of travel and beauty related content, and I try to mash the different genres to kind of come up with something really interesting and cool that you might enjoy. So feel free to hit the subscribe button below and click on the notification buttons if you want to get notified whenever I upload videos. I try to do it as much as I can between juggling that and work. But let's get right into this video about the interview process and kind of just owning the interview process, understanding it and getting over it. I strongly feel that once you understand or you have a master over the interview process, it gives you less anxiety around the process because you know what's next, you know what's going to happen, and you know how to prepare for the next stage in your interview process. And I find that information, in my experience, quite helpful. A technical interview, and at this stage, if you've gotten information about what to prepare for, generally when you're interviewing with the large tech companies, they'll ask you to revise your data structures, to revise your big O notation and understanding of algorithmic efficiency, and they'll ask you to study algorithms like sorting algorithms and breadth first algorithms, like a whole bunch of algorithms, and then they'll toss you with one, and then you kind of have to figure out how to apply those algorithms. But in South Africa, generally technical companies will give you an actual problem that you can develop an algorithm to solve for, so you can actually just practice problem solving and just improving your problem solving skill, and that will help you prepare for your technical interview. Another thing that really helps is I always go to HackerRank and just look at a couple of questions, go over a couple of questions, see how you can apply things. I think on HackerRank you can also go over data structures, so improve your knowledge and understanding of data structures, and then also maybe just go for general problem solving algorithms. Doing your actual technical interview, and I'm going to assume you're having an on-call one where they're watching you code. Those tend to be the slightly trickier ones because you're not just being assessed on your ability to code, you're being assessed on your ability to communicate your coding process. The first thing they're going to do for your technical interview is that they may ask you about your previous projects that you've worked on, what you enjoyed working on, what frameworks you've used and you've enjoyed in the past. So stuff that's generally in your CV, they will bring it up again to ease you into the technical interview, and they just try to make you a bit more comfortable with talking to them, which is really important, right? So when you do get the technical challenge, they might read it out to you, they might just show it to you on the screen. If they don't read it out to you, read it out to them yourself. Sometimes reading out questions shows that, not that it shows anything, but it helps you take it in because you might be a little bit nervous, and reading out the questions is your first step to starting to speak. And then the next thing is to go over a couple of examples, right? So you've read what the challenge is. Try to figure out if you can come up with like examples where this problem has an example like this, and this is what we want, and show steps to get to the answer. If you show a couple of examples that you really understand what the problem is, it allows the interviewer to see your thinking process if you understand the problem. So for instance, if the interviewer can see that you actually are misunderstanding something, they can stop you right there. You haven't even started coding yet. They'll stop you right there and say, hey, actually, maybe it looks like this, maybe it could be that, maybe you're misunderstanding this question. And this is really important because you're already helping yourself by making sure that there's no ambiguity, that everything is clear. Another thing you should do is try to figure out if there's any edge cases. So situations where, can this list be empty? Is it always going to be integers? Can I get a string? Are they always going to be positive numbers? Can they be negative numbers? Which can eventually kind of slowly affect the type proofness of your solution. Literally come up with a solution that solves the problem the way you were doing the examples, right? Not an efficient one, not a pretty one, but just write the code that resembles your thought process as you were going through the example. And what this will allow you to do is that you're not thinking about showing that you can take your thoughts and turn them into code and communicate that process. You want to be communicating each line of code, read it out loud. So the way you read your code in your head, read it out loud to your interviewer, let them know what you're thinking at each stage, and they will actually help you. So once you actively start involving them, they will actively get involved, they will help you out, they'll communicate with you, and it becomes for them more than just watching someone code, right? So it makes them more likely to like you as an interviewee. This is still the brute force solution. You haven't made it pretty. Go over a couple of more examples. So the example you went through at first, to check that you understand the question, check if your current solution will effectively solve that problem. Go through the problem sets with a bit trickier edge cases, check if your solution works. And then the next thing you can do is start finding more efficient ways to do this, right? Start realizing that there's little things that you can do to make your solution a little bit more efficient, just one by one, make your solution a little bit better. And then once you go over maybe 2 other examples, you may find that you are seeing a pattern that result in you having a solution that's completely different. You've seen like a completely different light to doing this, which is much better. Then you can communicate that with your interviewer. If you don't have time, they still will credit you for being able to, get to the actual more efficient solution, even if you didn't have time to write out the code. If you do have time to write out the code, they'll be like, yeah, you can write it like this, or they can be like, okay, cool, that's fine, you can do the next technical challenge. So some interviews will have 2 technical challenges, some interviews will have 1 technical challenge. What matters is you are able to communicate your way around it, and you're able to kind of bring your interviewer into the interview process and show your ability to communicate your understanding of the programs that you write. And this is essentially a fundamental skill to software development when working in teams, is being able to know when to ask for help, being able to communicate your code, writing code that's clear and it actually works, not always looking for the most efficient thing that someone else may not be able to read or understand. And that is sunshine in my code. My name is Matlapeng, and thank you so much for watching my video. Remember again to subscribe, comment down below if there's some other tips that you'd like to share, and hit the notification button so you can get notifications when I post more content.